I hadn't thought much about as players that come to you, like how they have to kind of transition into like this, because it's going to be so much different than what is typical, that you'd find on sports teams, because especially guy teams where
Mhm.
the dudes are not going to sit around and be thinking about feelings and
Right.
all that stuff, because we're so much more physical in
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
mentality of
Mhm.
things, um, and then also observant of the guy. Dude, I would bet you right now, if I called my oldest kid that's playing ball in college right now, it's like, hey, uh, tell me about tell me five good things that your teammates did. Tell me about five of those dudes, and be like, oh, so and so hit really well, so and so threw really fast, so and so did,
Mhm.
and it's going to be
Mhm.
like the physical things, not so much the uh, it's not even emotional things, but the more psychological aspects of how they committed to doing different things to support their team in one
Mhm.
way or the other. And I don't know that his team has focused as much on core values. Now they did have uh, some expectations that were set right out of the gate from coaches this year. He's got kind of a new coaching staff, and they did set some pretty significant expectations for commitment and things. And I find it interesting that one of the most important things to the coach was um, not something like this where we were talking about, commitment, or, for me, character is one of my high end things that I'm really looking for, or integrity. It was be on time, which falls into the discipline category, which is again one of my top tenets. Um, but the that coaching mentality, again, comes down to like a physical thing of, hey, be where you're supposed to be in the uniform you're supposed to be in at the time you're supposed to be there, which is a very much a military thing, although the coach isn't military. But the most important thing to him is be on time. And the smoke sessions they've got for failing to meet that expectation were significant. Um, but you could take, other tenets, just overall be disciplined, and then roll that up underneath it. Hey, be on time, be in the correct uniform, be with all of your equipment, all the different things that come with being disciplined, put forth 100% effort in practice, meet or exceed expectations. All of those different things can kind of be rolled up underneath there.
Mhm.
But whether it was with him, it was a very specific item. And I know that happens a lot with coaching, as well, that whatever your one shtick is, his apparently is being on time, um, becomes something important. So that's moved so far up the list that players will end up sacrificing other things in order to be on time, and things that maybe should be at a higher value to the players. I don't know. It's interesting to see it from this perspective, being, kind of the other things that we do, looking at coaches and coaching theory and philosophies through a different lens.
Mhm.
um, it's kind of interesting. And we see the same thing with the businesses that we've worked with, and some of those other teams. um, I don't know. I just think that for me, encouraging the your underlings, your players, and your uh, leadership to have high standards of character, being that it's something a little bit harder to define, um, is super important.
Mhm.
The character, integrity, discipline, and then the selfless service are probably my four tenets that I really want to get out of them. Everything else I think can kind of fall underneath that in some way or fashion. Uh, I can kind of work in what I need to get out of individuals that will fall into there. And, maybe individuals need to focus on one of those values more than what I think, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but I don't know. How do you see those?
When you were just saying that, maybe one, maybe some people need to focus on one specific value. I think that's our job as a leader, is to see where everybody has to grow, because that's going to be subjective. And are they still developing? Yes. Are they still progressing? Yes. Are they still being true to our values, even though they may need to commit to one more so than the others? Yes. And maybe maybe they're not going to be capable of meeting any of the others until they figure this one out. You see what I mean? Um, that also really, although it's somewhat different, it is connected to what you were saying about, the way I do things with a female team would be completely, the wording would be completely different, and some of the methods and modalities would be completely different if I were working with a male team. Would the values be the same? Yeah, absolutely. They just might be framed a little bit differently, right? Like, instead of cheering for each other, I might say help each other, right? Is it the same idea of service and selflessness and encouragement? Yes. Yes, it is, just framed a little bit differently. And so for our people to grow, progress, and for them to get what they need out of what we're doing, and still stay true to the values that we have, and make sure they're all still working together. Yeah, they do sometimes need to focus on one more than another. Because you can't, I mean, you think of it like this, you can't, how can you, if we were looking at some of the Army's core values, like, it'd be really hard to do any other job if you can't demonstrate courage. You know, I mean, if you can't get that one right, then there's a whole lot of other things you're not going to get right.
Hmm.
And because it's going to be really hard to have integrity if you don't have the courage to do the right thing all the time, and that's integrity,
Hmm.
right? And so, yeah, I agree with you. That's what I think. That
You know, eh, moving on to maybe even a more difficult framing with this, you've come in and you've come in to coach teams in multiple cities, multiple different school districts, and the whole bit, and come into it and then had to establish
Mhm.
this uh, ideology. This is what we're gonna do. And for me, on the military side of it, we get moved roughly every 2 years. So you're moving into a situation where maybe there was some toxic leadership that was there before you got there, and you're having to overcome. You're stepping into shoes where everybody underneath them is like, oh man, sorry, here comes another dude. Or
Yeah.
even into a middle leadership role. um for some of these players, like the girls that have come in from other schools, they're expected to move into a leadership role, right? And they had a lot of adjustment coming in there. And so for us that have to come in and kind of reestablish some of these things, how would you suggest somebody to go about easing into setting this up in a way that they can come in and establish these are the new values, this is how we're going to do this? what
Hmm.
how would you what guidance would you give them on trying to figure out how the best way to do this?
Yeah. I'm a hard and fast kind of guy.
Ain't no
Like,
easing into it.
ain't no easing into it. This is just it. Well, and here's how I have gone into it. Honestly, um, hard and fast, but I like to camouflage my hard and fast. So I come in and go, hey, what do you want? Because this is what we're going to do. But what do you want? Within these parameters, what do you want to get out of this?
And this
And
is you basically having this conversation with the players when you come in.
players and parents,
Okay.
players and parents. Hey, these are my values. This is who I am coming into this. I will not break this. I'm not going to break any of those. Here's my vision for where we can go. Now, what do you want to get out of this? So
Let me ask you another question, because this, in your vision statement discussion
Mhm.
with them,
Mhm.
I'm going to step out on a limb and take a wild guess that the number one thing that you have on that list is not winning state championship.
No.
Did you even discuss that as your vision
Um,
going forward?
it was, if we were looking at the slide presentation that I had for them, it's probably like slide 5, 6.
Five, five
Yeah.
of five or
Oh
six.
God, 5. uh, Number one is um, my objective for your kid, for your daughter or son, whichever, regardless of, because I've coached both, is for them to leave here a better person than they are when they step foot in. That's number one. That's first thing that comes out of my mouth when I take over a team. That way they know what I'm really all about. And then, okay, now next slide, here are my values as a person. This is what I'm going to stay true to. Don't ask me to negotiate on any of those. And slide 3 is usually, if you don't like that, have a good night. Yeah. And so that's where it's, that this is what I'm about. Surely you want what I want. You want your kid to be a better person, better player, right? If you don't want to get on board with any of those things I just said, then I guess fare thee well.
Yeah.
And then it's okay. Now here's what I foresee for us as a soccer team. What do you want within that? And so I told the team I'm with now, told them these things. Slide 4 or 5 was, we're going to win a state championship in 3 years. And then the next slide was, here's what you have to do that. And then, okay, what do you want within that? If I've told you what it's going to take, what do you want to get out of that? It's going to take a whole lot of hard work. We're going to do these things, and the sports performance side, et cetera, and player development side, et cetera. Now, what do you want to get out of that? And so they can set those personal goals then.
Mm.
Yeah. But, so is it hard and fast? Yeah. But it's also, hey, there's a place for you if you want this accomplishment, if you want this progress for yourself, but this is what the process looks like. What do you want within that? And so, it's not just my way or the highway. It's we're going to work together to make this happen, kind of thing. And again, at the end, hey, if you didn't like how any of this sounded, you don't have to show up tomorrow. And so,
Yeah, this ain't the place for you.
yeah, I frame it like that as well.
And I'm sure you had hard conversations with individuals who didn't completely agree with the methods that you were using to get there. Because, hey,
Yeah.
some people don't like hard work.
Some people don't like hard work. Yeah. First year we started with 32 girls, and before we played a match, so I started in January. Before we played a match in late February, we only had 18.
Some people don't like hard work.
Some people didn't. They did not. They did not. Why do we have to practice on Saturday? Because I said we're going to practice on Saturday. Because we have a match in 2 weeks, and you're not ready. So we're training today. Well, I'm not coming to a Saturday practice. I said, "Oh, okay, well, on Monday you can turn your things in." So, I mean, it's really that simple. But there are growing pains wherever you go. The previous school I was at was highly unsuccessful, and first meeting I had with them, hey, my objective is for your daughter to leave here a better person than she is today, and you better get ready to win. but you better get ready to do the things that will create the winning. And if at any time you don't agree with those things, you don't have to show back up.
Mm.
So yeah, short, sweet.
Yep. Hey, everybody wants to be a champion. Not everybody wants to put in the work to get there.
That's right. Not everybody wants to do the championship things.
Yep.
Yeah, that's actually something we're talking about next month with our teams. We're going to have a player talk about championship habits, what those really look like. So, but yeah, that's how that's how I would encourage anybody taking over. And here's why. I'm missing the whole main point. The why. People have to know what you're about and what your values are, and that those things are dear to you as a person, and that you won't. They're not entitled to anything, especially you negotiating who you are. Yeah, if you're going to be a good leader, that has to be high priority.
Mm-hmm.
Is letting everybody know what you're about. Is it going to be in their best interest? Yeah, it's going to be in their best interest. Some people have to have that displayed in their face with a neon sign. What we're going to do, what I'm going to ask of you is for your good. Right.
So when you went from the 32 to 18, did any of those with have conversations with parents or anything, or was that all kids like, you know what, I'm out? Or did any of those have parents that were like, hey, X, Y, and Z, these are what problems I've got with this, or why did you bench Susie, or things along those
It was about half and half. Half just walked away, happy to not have to sweat that much, I guess. And then the other half were like, well, why are you doing this? I had a good reason. I told you I'm not going to negotiate who I am and how we do things. And what I'm doing is in every kid's best interest. It's in this team's best interest, the program's best interest. I'm thinking 10 years ahead. Told you we're going to win a state championship in 3 years. By God, that's what I'm going to do. And so, well, you just know you're too serious. Okay, well, maybe you're not serious enough. So I guess y'all got to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess so. All right. Well, have a good year. All the best.
Because people that win championships aren't that serious.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's all a matter of what you want to get out of things, and I think if we as coaches, and your role is the same, going to the Army, you're not going to make friends. You have a really high calling. Well, coaches should as well. And this is my like, I guess if I had a soapbox to get on, it would be that many coaches, I'm not going to say all, but many don't take our role serious enough. We can impact kids to help them be a better person when they leave us. They are not our vehicle to glory for ourselves. We are their vehicle to life lessons. And the way we do things should be that vehicle for them. That should be our purpose as a coach, not just winning games. Right now, within the winning, and I always say, if you coach the person, the wins will come. If you coach the person first, the wins will come. But the wins are just a byproduct of doing the right thing and doing things the right way. And so my motto for Play Beautiful that I'm launching is built inside the lines to win outside of them. Well, because you do that, the wins come inside the lines too. They're just a byproduct. And that's why I've found, success on the field is because they, when you equip players with self-efficacy, that they can do really hard things and accomplish really difficult things, then they accomplish really amazing things, So Well, sorry, I just totally went off script there
Eh,
for the
but
question you
that's,
were asking. But
no, but that is kind of getting to the nuts and the bolts of it, which, man, that's probably the best interview question that you could ever ask for your assistant coaches coming on is like, what is your purpose?
yeah,
You know? And then the other part of that is once they're hired, that alignment that we talked about earlier starts with you
yeah,
aligning like, hey, this is what our purpose is. At the end of the day, yeah, I want to win state championships,
hmm
but it's not the most important thing,
hmm
you know?
Your original question was, what would I tell somebody? Like, what advice would I give somebody if they were coming into a program taking over? Don't hide who you are. Don't hide who you are, but know your purpose. Right? Know what your calling is. You know,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's coaching. But any leader, I mean, any leader, our leadership, God, boy, uh, for any leader, and I'm sure you agree, the responsibility that you have is immense. It's just unbelievable. So many people depend on you to help them become something that they can't achieve by themselves, right? And for coaches, you know, you've got to go in and you've got to be unapologetically you and unapologetically married to what matters most to you. Yeah. So if it's hard and fast, well, it's hard and fast. The people that want to be there will stay.
Mm.
You know, the people, and that's who you want to stay, right? That's who you want to stay. When it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
When it's not for everybody.
Yeah. I in taking over previous units, again, military is a little bit differently built different. You got to kind of see. I always wanted to see what's going on because you don't know till you get there what the deal is. Still, same idea. Introduce myself. This is what it's going to be like. Uh, this is what I expect. Introduce those expectations initially, but before the changes start getting made, for me, I got to figure out what we got going on first because
Mm-hmm.
there's a little bit different of a political scenario that's going on with who's working well with who and where are some of these issues at. And until you can get your leaders aligned with what you're going to do and believing in that, because you're coming into a spot where I, there's no telling. It could be any number of variables of what you're stepping into. But I think a key part on the military side is, getting my leaders that are underneath me bought into what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of almost what you were doing with the parents. Like, hey, out of the gate, you kind of framed them into a situation. Oh, well, so what you're telling me is you don't want your kids to be better today than they were yesterday. That's what I'm hearing you say. If you're wanting to leave now, is the deal.
Yeah.
And so kind of putting your next leaders underneath you in that position of this is where I want to go. I want, if it's on the business side, hey, I want us to be profitable. I want us to have good work family cycle or whatever those other values may be. These are all the things that I want. Are these the same things that you're looking to get and promote amongst our workers, or for me, soldiers or whatever? Okay, great. This is how I see us getting there. All
Mm-hmm.
right. And
Mm-hmm.
so since you want the same things, this is how I'm going to lead us to that promised land. All right. Hey, it's up a mountain though.
Right.
We're going to be sucking wind and sweating by the time we get to the top. But the way to get there, we got to start stepping. So we can't stay where we're at right now. We're never going to get to the top of that mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to start moving. And it may be a little bit rocky. We may have to do a little bit of climbing, but we'll get there and start getting some of those individuals bought in with you. And once you can get them bought in and believing in you, man, son,
Mhm.
that is the way.
Mhm. Mhm.
Buy-in. Got to have that
Mhm.
buy-in.
Buy-in. Boy, that could be a whole nother episode.
Oh man. Yeah, because we could spend write that one down. We'll do that one in a couple
Okay.
of weeks on getting buy-in because man, there's a lot of different ways to create it, and there's probably just as many ways to crush it.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah. Yeah.
I can think of three situations I've been in where I watched a leader completely implode and erode all buy-in,
Mm.
and a lot of failure happens when you miss big like that.
Mm. Mhm.
But I would
Mhm.
also say that it was a failure of character.
Mm.
Looking back,
Tied back to values.
you got to have the right values. So,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't guess that there's a way to say X value equals, whatever result in buy-in specifically. But I can tell you that lack of character makes it real hard for people to buy in, because if you don't have character, you don't have integrity, which means
Mm.
your underlings cannot trust you, what you're saying or what you're doing, which means there is no buy-in
Yep.
because they don't believe.
That's right. 1000%.